Alright, so what I'm about to show you is pretty old school. There's still people out here that do this, but there's not a lot anymore out in the world that actually does this kind of thing. And that is basically creating your content, online content, or your web content all offline, okay? And then using like an FTP program, is what they call FTP program, to connect to their web host, their web servers, and then upload all of their offline content online, so it makes it online, and then sets up their web directory from the console of the FTP program. Normally you just go in and use a website builder like WordPress, or even just a Wix website builder thing, and it gives you the option to just upload all of your content, like your pictures and files and all of that, and then just place them wherever you need to, and it does it all for you. This, I'm showing you how it's manually done, and it's pretty old school. They've been doing this since the early 80s and on. I've started, when I first learned how to do web design, that's what I started with, an FTP program, and then I did all of my content offline, and then just uploaded it so it connected to my web server. I typed in my web domain name, you know, frankscustom or whatever.com, and then it loaded everything that I've created. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. The first thing that I want to talk about is how the web directory is set up. So basically there is a parent directory, and then there are subfolders that you use. It's basically set up the same way a computer file system is. Like, for example, if I load my my offline web page, you'll see everything's normal, right? If I decide to, let's say I take this image folder here and I decide to put all of my images into a subfolder called images, what will end up happening is, since those are no longer on the parent directory, which is the desktop, the parent directory can't read where those files are at. So if you load the web page, you'll get all these picture errors. The pictures won't even load because it doesn't know where these files are located. So if you're going to use subdirectories or subfolders for all of your different content and stuff, and if you want to organize it that way, you'll have to go in and basically readjust or retype the locations in your HTML scripting. So, like, for example, I'm gonna load this in the notepads. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but let's say all of your image source files, they're all just your file names, and that means it only reads from where the parent directory is. If it wants to know where the files are located, it has to know. You have to type in exactly where that parent folder is. So in order to do that, basically the name of the subfolder is called images. So I'm going to type in images, all lowercase. For the desktop or for the computer, all of the subdirectories are \, but if you're on your web server, all of the directories are considered /. So in this case, they'll be /, and then you'll upload it, and then it'll work just fine after you upload it to your web server. But in this case, just for showing you, I'm going to use \, pretend it's /, and then same with this one. \, and then let's see, you have these three, and then you have the hair one, which also needs the subfolder. Okay, and then I'm going to hit save, and then what it's going to do is when it loads, it's going to go through each channel, and it's going to read each image source that is now in the images folder. Hold on. Images. Save. And then when we reload the page, all of the files are then transferred, are reading from that subdirectory or that subfolder. So that's how that works. So we're going to take these off. Save it again. And then I'm going to see if I can undo. Yeah, undo putting them in there. And so now that everything's back in the, let me hit save. Now all the images are back in the parent directory, which is the desktop for now. If you reload, everything's back to normal. When your web server is loading up your web page, what happens is you have a certain amount of cap of space that it uses per load, so that when people are viewing your website, there's a certain limit to how much space your web host or web server uses, and that all depends on your service too, and how much you pay for, so to speak. So if you pay for like an unlimited amount, then it doesn't matter, because there are web hosting plans on there that you can get for like unlimited page loads and stuff, so you never have to worry about it. And those are still pretty cheap. But for those starting out, they probably want to start maybe with like 25,000 page loads per month, and that's fine. I mean, especially for like a barbershop. To further illustrate, I'm going to show you how a web host works. Basically, web hosting. I'm going to show you how that works and how to get your business up. So, this is cswebhosting.com. This is my web hosting service. I provide everything from domain names to website tools. This is website builder and WordPress. So if you don't ever want to have to deal with scripting, you don't have to. If you're wanting to know what the difference is between a web domain and web hosting is where your web server is at, is where your web directory is at, is where all of your content is being hosted. A web domain is your domain name, your .com, your thing that it's basically called a DNS. It's DNS server. It's short for domain name server. And what the domain name server does is it basically masks your web hosting address. Your web hosting address is a whole bunch of different numbers and dots listed, and nobody's going to remember the entire combination of that code. It's like a long phone number. Nobody's ever going to really remember that. So what you do is you sign up for a yourname.com that is a server based for the domain that connects to your web server, so that your domain.com masks that address, connects to your web server, and then loads your website. So we're going to start out with a yourbusiness.com. Actually, there we go. And we're going to type in Frank's. Actually, not Frank's Cuts. And we're going to check availability. We're going to see what it has for me. FranksCuts.com is taken. Yeah, I already took it just to illustrate here, but we got our FrankCuts.com. So let's pretend this is FranksCuts.com. Add to cart, $8.99 a month. And so that's been added to the cart, and now I need a web hosting service. So here's what the difference is. cPanel is basically for Linux web host servers. So if you have like a computer that is Linux, then the best thing to do is to use cPanel, so that you have a computer that communicates with cPanel hosting. Let's see, on web hosting, for Windows, which is what I use Plesk. Okay. Each one of these, either Plesk or cPanel, it's both the same type of web hosting. they all have the same plan. So Ultimate, you have $14.99 a month, $8.99 a month. Economy is like $5.99 a month. That's with one website. 50 FTP users. I don't know why you would have like 50 people working on the same FTP. But what I did is when I actually set up my test run for this, I used Plesk Starter, which is one page, and you have more info, so you can load that, and you can see it's one website, 30 gigabytes of storage, unmetered bandwidth, which means it is unlimited bandwidth. So hundreds of thousands of people can load this website, and you won't lose any bandwidth per month. It'll just reset, and then you'll have plenty of people, plenty of customers to go in and check out your website. So I'm going to add this, add to cart. You can add a website backup if you need to, but honestly, if you're just using a one-page info thing and then you have your backup already on your desktop, you really don't need this. So I'm just going to hit no thanks. And on this standard SSL certificate, it's basically saying that your website is legit and it's secure. But you're not selling anything on it. You're not having anybody type in their information from the website itself. So again, it's not applicable. So it's just a one-page HTML script website with just a couple information, a couple of clickable links. You're not adding any information to anything. So therefore, you don't need security on other people's personal data because they're not entering anything in, so to speak. So I'm taking that off, and I'm going to continue, and then fully uploadable. And so now I have entry-level hosting with Plesk, which is $149, only $1.49 a month. And you have $8.99 a full year for your domain name, which is frankscuts.com. And then right now I have a promo code. A lot of times during a lot of the holidays, especially Valentine's Day and Christmas, Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day, all of those wonderful holidays, I'm going to continue to keep promoting 15% off. So if you want to, keep coming back, and I will have this. And for this one, until February 1st, it's going to be CS New 15, which is also the same code listed on the front page when you enter the website, cswebhosting.net, and apply it. And you can see it works. And I am now down to $8.91. So when I go to checkout, I am at, so basically it'll ask you to put in your email, username, password to create a new account. And then after tax, it was like $9.01. So for that first payment, you get for $9.01 or 2 cents. I think it was like 9.03. For the first year of web domain, you have that web domain name for an entire year, and then every month after that, it's like $1.60 for a month for your web hosting service. So to keep your website online, it's only $1.60 a month. So, and I don't think you're going to get a better deal anywhere else. But that's just me. So anyway, once you have that all set up, we're going to go ahead and sign in. And sign into your new account with your new web domain and web hosting service. So it's got my username and password there. We're going to sign in. And there's my profile. There's everything I need to know right here. And on my products, I have my frankscuts.com, which is already set up, and then my domains here, which is the DNS, right here, which you can point to your web hosting, which is right here. So when you type in frankscuts.com, it'll connect to this web hosting server and then load your website. So that's how that works. With the web hosting and manage, when you go into manage, you could actually set up a website builder, so you don't have to worry about this. There's options to do that. But for now, this is all the information I need to know. For primary domain is frankscuts.com. It's already connected to my hosting. So this is my Plesk login and password. So I've already set up my own password for this. Plesk login is the login to your server. So this is your server location's login. Up here where it says North America is your address. So if you don't have a frankscuts.com, you'll just have your web host. People will, in order for people to connect to your website, they will literally have to put in this long address code to get to your website. And of course, you don't want them to do that. You want them to type in frankscuts.com and automatically connect to this web address and load your website. So when we go into frankscuts.com, you don't have anything uploaded to it yet. So the default that I have set up for everybody when they set up their new web domain and web hosting service, this is what people are going to see when they come to your website. Future home of something really cool. If you are a visitor, check back soon. So you can leave this as is while you're working offline and creating your website and having everything set up. And then overnight, when you're ready to have everything go online, about like 2 in the morning, just get into your FTP program and sign everything up. And I'm going to show you how to do that now. So again, we have all of our login information here. So we're going to go to our FTP program. And this is what it is. It looks a lot like a regular file browser, right? So we'll go into, we'll set up file, we'll say new, and we'll say new FTP site. And on here, we have a general listing. We want to label it frankscuts.com, just so that we know what it is the next time we want to connect to it, because it'll save this profile so you can connect it to it later. So when you set this up, you only have to set it once and then just type in your password and you're good to go later on. So the host address, again, is this long digit number right here. So we're going to copy, Control C, and then we're going to go back to the global, and then we're going to host address, Control paste into the host address. So that'll be where your server is located. And your username for that is your Plesk login, which is ph1, 2, 7, let's see, and then Control C, and then we're going to go into username, and we're going to type in Control V. And this will be different depending on what kind of web hosting service you choose from. But this is the way mine is set up. It's easy, and you don't have to worry about much at all. If you don't want a website builder, like I said, you just want to create everything offline, this is a simple way to go. So we'll type in our password. And then we'll hit connect. And then automatically we are connected to our web server. This is our web directory right here. This is everything that's listed on your web host server. This is what your web host server sees. And this is what you'll need to upload your thing to. See this HTTP docs here? If your web host, whatever web host server you use, if your web directory does not have this HTTP docs, then you would upload all of your files here in the parent directory, and then it will load promptly. But since it has an HTTP docs directory, we'll need to click into the HTTP docs directory, and this will act as your parent directory. So this is where you want to upload all your files to. Okay, so we will have, what we'll have is everything that we created on the desktop in this folder here. So in order to do that, we can See, we're already accessed to our desktop, so we'll go like this. And this is our desktop directory here from our. So this is our web directory here, and this is our computer directory here. So we're already loaded here. So we'll just look for all the files needed. This one, it's index, the hair one file, the logo file, and the pull file, which is all that was needed to create the web page that we just did. So we're going to right click and we're going to say upload. And then after it's done, transfer complete, and then it's moving all the files into the web directory. It's basically uploaded to the internet now in your web directory. So here it is, and we're good to go. Okay, so here's the whole reason why I've decided to name the web file originally index.html. Okay, it makes it an HTML file that way, but I've done that because when you upload your main web page, your home web page, your landing page, where you type in your .com, and it loads the content from your main page, your frankscuts.com. What happens is the web server connects to your web directory, and then it searches for your home page, your specific file to load from after it's done typing in. So the order that it goes is you type in yourname.com, frankscuts.com. It's the internet searches for the web host that domain name is connected to, which is your long-winded web host address, which is the numbers and dots that I showed you before. So it figures out that's what that host server is connected to. Okay, and then step 2. The server connects to the web directory that it's associated to and looks for a file called index.html. And that's your landing page. That's the page that it understands, okay, this is the page that needs to load when it comes into frankscuts.com and then loads the web directory and then sees that and then loads that main page. And so that's how that's set up. And then step 3 is it finishes loading the page, reads the HTML script, sees that the end HTML tag is listed, and then cuts off all the searching from that point, and the web page then is fully loaded. All right, so here we are. We are going to disconnect from our web directory. Since we have everything loaded, we can disconnect so that nobody else can creep in and do weird things to it. We're going to close this program here. So we're back in our web browser, and we're going to type in frankscuts.com, and frankscuts is going to connect to the web server, the web host server, and then look for the web directory, and then the web directory is going to look for that index.html file, and bam, there's your website. So you have frankscuts.com, they enter the search and type enter or search, and it will load this one pager, and your website's set up and ready to go. So you don't have to worry about nothing after that. All right, so when you go in and test this thing out for yourself, type in frankscuts.com, and you'll see that it's online, and I'll keep it up for a few weeks in association with this tutorial. So if you would like to get started practicing your HTML scripting on your own, I have a nice little HTML cheat sheet to get you started, and this has everything that you need as far as HTML style 4 goes. It has some extra tags that you can use to test out for your HTML5 attributes. If you go online to Google, you can search for some tags that you may need for HTML5. They're really easy to find. As well as I can also send you a link for the color hex if you need a cheat sheet for the color codes to test out different color variations and stuff. All you have to do is message me on Facebook or email me using the link provided in the frankscuts.com. Just for fun. Oh, you could also call me if you want to from it. It's up to you. Just don't prank me, please. Anyway, This is Frank on the subject of HTML scripting, and this still makes me look like I'm flying a plane.